What's up? This is Diva, delivered, inspired, victorious, anointed, and I am here today with my hoodlums, with my girls. Now you might be wondering, hoodlums, what you talking about? We graduated from Hood Theological Seminary, therefore we are hoodlums. And we are here to just talk about things. You know, we are women of God, but we are also women of the world. We are educated and opinionated, and today we are going to be sharing that with you. I have with me today Sandra Carter, who is the class of 2019, Tonya Jackson, class of 2019, Pia Jessup, who will be joining us shortly because, you know, we do ministry, we got lives, and she'll be popping in and out. And she's a 2020 graduate, and myself, Diva, delivered, inspired, victorious, anointed, aka Dierdre Parker, the oldly wed Rawson, and we're gonna just jump right into it. So, ladies, I wanted to talk to you about, first of all, COVID-19. How has that changed your life and affected your ministry? Sandra, I want you to talk about that first, and then Tonya, you, because I know that you and I have something in common about COVID that Sandra may not be able to kind of discuss as we go. So go ahead, Sandra, I want you to start.
Well,
Go.
first of all, it has, because I do ministry, I'm a chaplain.
Mm-hmm.
I have to deal with a lot of COVID deaths at the hospital and family and whatnot. But because I'm also a pastor, I have to keep it real. I was kind of relieved I didn't have to keep traveling to the church, you know, that I could do everything because, you know, at the time I was still in residency as a chaplain. So I had, you know, assignments that I had to do and so forth. So now I'm a staff chaplain. I'm not that pressed, but still I'm working towards board certification. So it still is, you know, but it changed my ministry in the church because I have a lot of older people there. Like 99.9% of my members are seniors. And, you know, they can't get with the Zoom, they can't get with you know, but on the other hand, I have a lot of people visiting from all around the country and the world, because I have a sister that comes from London and Trinidad, and so I'm having that kind of exposure and touching their lives. So,
all right. You know. And so how are you conducting your services now?
On Zoom.
On Zoom. That's good. So your people have gotten with the Zoom.
Some of them have.
Well, that's good. So are you making it available? Okay, so call in and Zoom. That sounds good. Now, what about you, Tonya? Talk to me about your experience with your ministry and also with your personal life and your job and how everything has affected you with COVID-19.
Well, I think overall, starting with ministry, COVID-19 has truly caused us to step out of the box, out of our comfort zone, and it's made us or pushed us to use technology that we would not ordinary or even typically use.
Yes.
And so even with technology becoming familiar with it, that even what we're presenting is done in quote unquote excellence, because you know, because God in our view is an excellent God, then I think that we need to be presenting excellency instead of something that's just half-heartedly done. And so even trying to connect and getting the members on board to connect with that, I think that that was something that has really pushed ministry out of the box.
Absolutely.
Now, as far as, you know, personally, it's really, it showed up at my front door. And I ended up having COVID. And it got to the point where there was some rough moments. I ended up having to go to the hospital at least twice. And
you have asthma. Do you have asthma?
No, I'm diabetic.
Diabetic. Okay. Yeah, I knew you had a condition.
So I mean, just not able to breathe. And even with one of the last occurrences that I had, it was very frustrating. The doctor that was there, even though I was there, I was spiking temps, couldn't breathe. The doctor wouldn't give me anything. He would not give me anything. And he told me, oh, it's just got to run its course. Now, the first time I had gone to the hospital, they had given me the inhaler. They had even given me a shot that would open up my lungs to help me breathe, which helped a lot. And I was asking him, I said, well, last time I came, they gave me a shot. They gave me the nebulizer to breathe. And he said, oh, well, I don't know why they did that. I mean, because that's not really effective. And I was, you know, it frustrated me to the point that by the time when I got back home, I told my husband, I said, listen, I don't care how rough it gets. I don't care what happens. It's now just between me and God. I told him that. I said, I'm staying here. And so it was during that time, though, that I can honestly say that I had an encounter with God that I don't know I would have had it not been for COVID. And it really helped my ministry. I think that the relationship and the revelation that I received from God during that time kind of changed even my whole view of ministry. And the fact that this is something serious as far as ministry, the souls of men and women are serious. This isn't something we can take half-heartedly or just think, oh, I can do it tomorrow. I can do it next week. No, you've got to seize the moment because tomorrow isn't promised. And though, you know, you may think you have it, you don't know what may happen, you know. And so that really kind of sparked the interest or the fire with me as far as truly being pressed toward really being active and effective when it comes to ministry. And so that it's really been an experience with me. And just the fact that I know that so many people have suffered loss with COVID, you know. I mean, I had a very good friend of mine. I'm older than she is. She's 43. I'm 51. But she had been battling with COVID and was found dead in her bed.
Yeah, you told me that. And I'm so sorry to hear that.
In her bed. Yeah. And, you know, it just really humbled me to make me know that, you know, God has the final say.
Yes.
And though we don't want to suffer loss, though we don't want to deal with the pain, it ain't over until God says it's over. And even though, you know, people are saying it's related to COVID, no, not everybody's dying from COVID.
That's right.
Which means
That's right.
that God has the final say. And if it's someone's time, it's someone's time. And we can't go, you know, we want to say, oh, this person should die this way. No, that's what you say. You know, but God's ways aren't our ways, nor are his thoughts our thoughts.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that's one of the things I can say, that there were 3 times in this whole episode with COVID during those rough moments where I couldn't breathe. And I can be transparent to say there were times that my body was hurting so bad. I couldn't breathe and I was just exhausted and I was so tired. I laid in bed this particular time. I remember could barely raise my hand, but I did. And I honestly asked God, Father, can I just come home? That's what I asked him. I asked him that because 1, I know it is well with my soul.
Yes.
And 2, in my mind, with everything that I was going through, walking the streets of gold and where there was no more night, no more day, seemed to be a far better alternative than what I was dealing with. And I asked him, Lord, can I just come home, is what I asked him. But during those times, such a peace came over me. And I drifted off to sleep. And when I woke back up, I looked around and I said, God, I'm still here. But you
have work to do, baby. You can't, just like you said, God has the final say.
Girl, that's what I'm saying, because I heard the Spirit of God, D. And I mean, I know some people may think at this time, well, when I'm serious, I heard it was a still voice, but I heard this voice that said, Tonya, it is not your time. You have yet an assignment to fulfill. And that's when I was like, okay. I said, well, you just got to help me. And I'm telling you, I'm here.
Yeah.
But
and see, that's beautiful. And I can commiserate, because when, you know, I used to listen to NPR radio all the time. So I was following COVID before it came to the United States. When it was started in Wuhan, China, I was listening to NPR. So I was following it, but in my American arrogance, okay, I was like, well, I know it ain't gonna come. I never said it out loud, but that's what I thought. Well, I know it ain't gonna come here. We're not gonna let that happen here in America, okay? But it did come. So as it came, I'm still listening to NPR and I'm watching it. I'm watching it move, so to speak. Pia's here, yay! I'm watching it, come in. And I'm already wearing a mask even before it was mandatory. I'm washing my hands and sanitizing my hands, and I am being uber. When I say I'm being uber careful, I wanted to suspend services at my church much earlier than anybody else did, and they really didn't want to do it until, Sandra, we talked about it, they didn't really want to do it until the governor mandated it. So I'm careful. Now, as y'all know, as I'm going along doing this, there's other things that are going on in my life. I'm reunited with a love from 36 years ago. We get married, I'm doing all this. And so one weekend we went to my dad's house and just hanging out. We had our masks on. It was my daddy's 86th birthday. And so the fire department and stuff did a drive-by parade and everything was just beautiful. Yay. And so I'm sitting there, I had my mask on, everything is good. I knew I was good to go. And I took my mask off and ate a piece of my sister's pizza. And then when I got back home, she said I tested positive. Well, I'm gonna tell y'all something about that. This is how I know God loves me, because I thought I was gone. I couldn't breathe, just like you were saying, Tonya, and the pain from not being able to draw breath gives you a different perspective.
Yes.
Because life is in breath. Man became a living soul when God breathed the breath of life. And so I was just like, I'm dying. But see, I'm living with my daughter. Y'all know I was living with my daughter who has a heart condition. She has peripartum cardiomyopathy. And so I was scared. So I hid in my room. I wouldn't come out. When I went to the bathroom, I'm bleaching everything down because I did not want anybody in the house to get it. And one day, I hadn't been eating. I was so weak. My daughter came in there and she said, "Mama, are you okay?" And I said, I'm fine, because I always know how to put on the voice. Well, one day I fell off the toilet, y'all, and couldn't get up. Couldn't get up. Could not. I was down there for almost an hour before I got up, but I still didn't want her to know how sick I was. So she came in there one day and she said, "You're going to the hospital, Mama. You're going to the hospital." And I'm like, no, I can't go. That child put my clothes on me. I couldn't even put on my own clothes. And so that having it, knowing how bad it hurts to be trying to draw a breath and you cannot draw a breath. I was so weak even after I was in the hospital for about 10 days. Sandra, was it about 10? I think somewhere between 6 and 10 days I was in the hospital. And even when I got out and I would go, all masked up and everything, and I would go to the grocery store, I couldn't walk in the grocery store. I was too tired. So I would ride the little old folks buggy. Well, I shouldn't call it the old folks buggy.
No, you should not.
Probably politically incorrect, but y'all know what I'm talking about. But it took, I know, a good month for me to really be able to just walk. And so now we're doing ministry via conference call, my church. And even with that, it's because the church didn't even have internet at all. So we have internet now. And so I'm going to be, even if I have to just go there and stream or whatever, I'm going to make that available. But the thing that's happening is with me in my ministry is that I'm checking on people much more.
Right.
Because I can't see them. So I got to call them. I got to check. Sister, are you okay? Brother, are you okay? The beginning of this year, I did something that I hadn't done in years. I did a 7-day fast. Now, when I say fast, I don't be talking no pity pat. I don't play with that Daniel mess. I'm talking about no food for 7 days.
Wow.
I'm a fat girl. So y'all know. Okay, but I did that because God laid that on my heart to do that and to pray. And as we were reading this book, dangerous prayers, it also took me to a place where I was able to learn how to step out of my comfort zone of prayer and to pray prayers that will please God and will help people. So that's where I am with COVID. Now, Pia, tell us how COVID-19 has changed your ministry and your personal life.
Well, I have by default become the tech person at my church, because I just am there to kind of assist and help under the leadership of Reverend Simmons at my home church of St. Thomas. So just like you said, checking in, we do the text group. We have multiple text groups. Just recently we started, I do a weekly Zoom on Fridays now with the youth to kind of check in with them, because in the midst of all of this that's going on, I also teach. So that's been just completely, education has kind of been turned on its head in terms of how we serve our children. But in the midst of that, of trying to teach children just the curriculum in and of itself, people forget that with COVID set in, there has been such an increase in anxiety and depression among children and youth. So it's imperative to really check in on their well-being, because this is completely foreign to them. It's foreign to all of us.
Yes.
But to go from, you're on a team together, you go to school, you're socializing with your friends, to now being told you can't play together. And it becomes even more difficult the younger the child, because they don't understand. So it's really important that, I try to touch base with young people to see where they are, because so often we don't listen to our children and our youth about their emotional well-being and really how they're doing. So checking in with that. So that's been really heavy for me. It has been rough within my sorority. Right now, we're praying fervently for one of our sorors who is really fighting, for her life. Her husband contracted COVID-19. She ended up getting it. If I'm not mistaken, I believe her mother ended up getting it. Her mother was already in a little bit of failing health, but lived a wonderful life and well into her 90s, 94. But her mother passed away. It was funeralized yesterday. But my soror was not able to go. She's actually been transferred to Durham for long-term care. And her husband is being transferred to Florence, South Carolina for long-term care. So I think about their daughters, my grandmother just passed, my mom's been, here, my dad's there. And this is a time we can't visit people. You can't even go see your loved one in the hospital. So it's just a tumultuous time. But I think half of my line sisters have had it. So
y'all had a big line too. Y'all had a big line.
We had 12, which I guess, for the size of our chapter, for an alumni chapter, that's a, pretty good size. But like our line, we really rallied together. So if we find out one of our line sisters have it, we hit Cash App. And I've been the gopher, go to the store, put together a care package, drop it at the door. We're loading them down with the tea, the honey, the lemon, that sort of thing. So it's been rough. So like you said, COVID has helped us put in perspective what's important. From a spiritual standpoint, and as far as ministry and worship, COVID, in a very morbid way, has been one of the biggest blessings I feel that the church has gotten. In that it stripped away all of the fake, the show. And we are really relearning what it means to worship him. For real.
And it has also exposed. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Sandra.
No, I'm just telling her, come on, because that is so real, you know. Even say, and I'm not trying to change the subject, because out of this dialogue, I have some follow-up questions, but I know that we're supposed to move on. But but even with everything that's going on in the country, and they look at the pastor and they want me to be unaffected. And
yes,
no,
absolutely.
I am so affected. I am just like you. I'm feeling what you feeling. I'm coming to terms with this thing. I'm praying to God to, give me the wisdom, calm my nerves, I'm doing. And so, Pia, to what you were saying, you can't, I can't say that you can or anybody. I can't. I have to speak for myself. I got to keep it real.
Yeah, absolutely.
Keep it real.
And I think that COVID has exposed also, people out there talking about Corona be gone, the blood is upon you, and all that kind of mess. See, this whole season, and I guess we'll segue into our next thing, because we're going to talk about the protests of this summer. This whole season is exposing things. COVID is the great exposer, I think. Right. And also the civil unrest that we are experiencing is also a great exposer. Like, Pia, I really want you to do a lot of talking about this, because I know that you have been on the front lines when it comes to things of social justice. And I know that we have seen a lot. It's still going on, even though it might not be being reported right now. Every day, a Black man or woman, because we always talk about the men, but we leave the women out. Every day, a Black person is being killed by police. Wow. And we protest. And I think it was Dr. King who said that riot is the language of the unheard. And I know, so I want you to talk first a little bit about how you feel about the protests that went on this summer and the events of the summer, the death of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, all these, and it keeps going. How did that affect you, and what work were you able to do? Because I know that you are, like I said, on the front lines of a lot of that social justice work.
Sure. If I can be just brutally honest,
please.
Black women are tired.
Yes.
We are exhausted. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I am mentally drained. This summer, when July hit, after George Floyd, I had to make the conscious decision to deactivate my social media. I had to step away because social media has become the place where all of a sudden people become psychologists who've never went to school. They become doctors. All of a sudden, they have become politicians all of a sudden. And the social media has been so flooded with a lot of noise.
Yes.
There have been sparks of fresh air where there are articles or just different thoughts or opinions that do make us think, that take us beyond the surface and are more cerebral. But I found myself really struggling and having to make the effort to keep scrolling when I saw so-called friends, people who smile in my face every day and tell me that they love me on a daily basis, and to see the racist rhetoric that they would spew out on social media because it gives them a false sense of security, because you would never say that openly in a public forum where you're face to face with people. But for some reason, social media gives them such a sense of bravado and such a sense of, I think, I can do whatever. So I had to take a step back because it was either going to be me losing my mind, possibly losing my job, because, you know, we're watched. Our social media is followed, and we always have to stay above board. So that was one piece of it. The other piece of it was I was angry. I was very angry because as much as it was horrific, the video that the whole world saw of George Floyd, I was pissed that Breonna Taylor lost her life in March. And it fell on deaf ears. It became just another thing. And I was conflicted, not only with, we expect from our white counterparts a certain level of ugliness, but I become conflicted with Black men. Because Black women are always on the front lines for justice. For our people. That is the womanist in us. And that is the distinction between feminism and womanist theology.
Come on, girl.
The womanist theology, we care about the community as a whole. Whereas the feminists, number one, Black women were never even invited to that conversation to begin with.
That's right.
And so we always carry our people on our back. Right? So the fact that from where I'm sitting, Black men do not give us the same love and respect and the same chutzpah, if you know,
the level of sacrifice. The level of sacrifice. It's not even
that we give them. We lay ourselves on the line for our Black men, and our family, everybody, but we don't get that in return. We see the women out. Hey, we need to push this, Breonna Taylor. But we didn't see the Black men, you know, not to say not, you know, all of them, right? But we didn't see the level of fierceness and the level of holding people's feet to the fire for Breonna Taylor from our Black men that we got for George Floyd. And I mean, again, what happened to George Floyd was horrific. I cried. Like when I saw that video.
I've never seen the video, and I never will. I
forced myself to watch it, and I was in tears. We were already sent home from work, but we had the ability to kind of come in if we needed to go to our classroom. And the day after that incident, I could not go. I could not walk into that building because that was the other caveat. We are the only race of people who have to code switch, and we have to completely mask how we feel when we go into a workplace. Because we get that angry Black woman narrative. We have to be very methodical and thoughtful every word that comes out of our mouths, because it is being scrutinized, it is being analyzed, and we have to be ever so careful how we carry ourselves. Not only on what we say, even in our body language. And that is exhausting.
It is.
And it is mentally unhealthy that I think of Dunbar's poem, The Mask We Wear.
We wear the mask that grins and lies.
You understand? And so we have taught ourselves, not only just in society, but even in the church, because we're some liars up in the church too. But that's another story for another day.
Come on.
To put this mask on and hurt. We're bleeding.
Yes.
And there's no one there to bind our wounds until you get home. And then potentially we go home to bleed on our families. So mental health, like I can go on for days. There's so many dynamics, that have come for this. But I still lead the charge, and I felt like if this was not a wake-up call for Black people to vote,
Yes, yes. I'm so glad you said that word, because I want to go right on into, because I'm trying to value your time. We said we had a time limit.
Sure.
So I'm going to go right into
Right
that.
here too good. This right here too good.
I know. That's why I had to portion it out, because I know each one of us is opinionated. We have strong opinions, and we have, but anyway, I want to go right into the election, because I moved to Harnett County. This is where I live now. And I have never seen this before. So somebody was coming down the sidewalk, and she was like, would you like a sample ballot? Would you like a sample ballot? And I was like, yeah, sure. So I got the sample ballot, and I looked at it, and it had all the Democrats. It had a line through them. Like you, I was like, what?
Right.
So the Republican ladies were at the Republican tent. And the lady said to me, she said to the other lady, she said, oh, I'm so excited to see this great turnout that we have. And the younger girl said to her, you might not be so excited when we get the results. And it turns out that young girl was right.
Right.
So now we have this, even before we get to the current things, in November we have this election that decidedly, I mean, it wasn't, come on y'all, it was, Stevie Wonder could see it,
landslide.
Yeah, basically. And but we have all these people who are saying it's not over, we're gonna stop the steal. What do y'all think about that? Let me start with you, Tonya. What do you think about the whole this is not really a victory thing?
It just, we've always had the speculation or the quote unquote idea that there were so many things of what the others may think or how others may feel. But it's at a point now where there is no hidden kind of cover. They're coming out straight, and they're coming out bold, and they're saying the things that they're saying, and you are really getting a true picture of what this world, of what America actually is. Right. And I heard someone say before, if someone shows you, something, believe it. Yeah. Don't try and make an excuse for it. Don't try and cover it or try to just, you need to believe it. If a fish,
the first time.
Exactly. But it's just, when you seeing the responses of people with everything that Trump has done. And there are still people
we gotta be real. That's what it is. That's what it is. It's what
they justify it. And they act like, even when I'm looking on the floor at the debate, it's just, and you're hearing how they're trying to say, well, yeah, he did it, but don't, we don't want to impeach. Really? If that was Obama, let's be real.
Well, we already know that. I mean, we know that this is, they tried to make up stuff about Obama. And all this stuff is like, he'll tell you, they got video. He's on tape saying this crazy mess over and over, that this election was not real, that it was stolen, that he won by a landslide. And all these people believe it. I don't understand the level of cognitive dissonance that it takes to believe something when all of the evidence points in the opposite direction. So Sandra, come on, give me a little something. How you feel about it? Yeah, go ahead, Tonya.
I just want to put this too. I mean, to the point of the ignorance of people. Now, after Trump said what he said, there were actual people that thought that he was walking in the mob with them too.
Now we're gonna get to that. Let's don't go to the mob yet. We're gonna get to the mob, but let's don't go there yet. We're gonna say that one for last.
Oh my goodness.
Now come on, Sandra, tell me what the election results, the initial thing.
I am numb by this whole thing. I've been numb since 2016 when he won the election, that these people actually voted for him. I remember the day, the night, I remember it, and I've been numb. And so I am amazed that, and then the people that you thought had such some good sense.
Yeah.
Mitch McConnell, people like that.
You
And
thought Mitch McConnell had good sense?
well, you know. Well, okay.
I'm sorry,
okay.
I shouldn't be
Yeah,
laughing.
I thought he had more sense than that.
Okay.
Chris
okay.
Christie, I thought he had more sense than that. You know, I thought I gave him the benefit of the doubt. I didn't think they could stoop that low.
Wow.
So I was numb to see that they would stoop that low as to really prop this guy up.
And
Well,
if I
what
may
he's
say,
saying. I'm sorry, go ahead.
If I could interject, the spirit of Malcolm
Come on.
is rising so heavily in this hour.
Mm-hmm.
The chickens have come home to roost. And what we are seeing is a manifestation of what has always been.
Yes.
So we need not be surprised.
That's right.
Nothing should catch us off guard because America is showing us who she is.
Yeah.
Period. Yeah. Because what we have to understand is, in terms of when we look at other political parties and things like that, the question first begins with whether or not you believe the myth that America is a Christian nation. That's arguable.
Yeah.
Depending on which vantage point you're looking at.
Absolutely.
But this is the underbelly of who America is.
Underbelly, yes.
And there is a reckoning. There is a reckoning. And so people have to, and that's one thing, even as a hoodlum.
Come on.
I have seen hoodlums post some ridiculous rhetoric.
Listen.
And prior to, this is when I had to pull myself and talk myself off the ledge when I read them for filth. I'm surprised that you would say such. Having chosen, you made the choice to attend a historically Black theological seminary, birthed in the legacy of Bishop Hood, who was a champion for education and coming out of the freedom church that is Zion.
Come on.
And the freedom and the liberation of our people. You made a conscious decision to come here. But I sat with you in class and I see how uncomfortable and awkward you felt when conversations of race would come.
Yeah.
I saw them when they would get in their huddles, when these types of conversations would come, they felt uncomfortable, and you want to go to the dean and you want to go to the president. We don't feel, because they don't want to face this. They don't want to have to deal with this. You understand?
Yeah.
They don't want to deal with this. But this is seriously just, America is showing us who she is and who she has always been. This is the systematic racism, and let's call a spade a spade. White privilege. Sits heavy. And
all these people, I'm sorry, go ahead.
And I mean, your Mitch McConnells, your Chris Christies, and one thing I've always seen, you know, my grandmother has always taught me, in a sense, that we can learn from them.
Yeah.
They can be wrong as two left shoes, but they will always stick together. And what I saw us do, I was elated in the season of the primary, the Democratic primary, because this was the most diverse.
It was
Democratic primary we have ever had in terms of the candidates that were coming out. But the way in which Black people tore apart our now vice president elect, ripped her a new one. They didn't have to. No. We did it.
Exactly.
They did it to Barack too.
Exactly.
We did that.
They did it to Barack
But
too.
look how they will cover for a buffoon and a complete idiot.
Yes. So listen, I want to, Tonya, did you want to throw anything on that before we go to the Georgia runoffs, because I want to talk about the Georgia runoffs. I don't know what you guys think, you can tell me, but I think that the Georgia, first of all, Georgia flipping blue in the primary election, and then the runoffs, that is a lot of, I mean, you got to give Stacy and the other ladies, because Stacy wasn't the only one. There were women, and they went to work and they did their thing. But it also shows that Black people are more engaged. And I think that that's the most important thing. I believe that we are turning a corner as far as engagement in the political arena, because so much is happening that we can't afford to say that's them, not us, and close our eyes. And people are understanding. I had somebody tell me in the 2016 election that she didn't vote. And I said, why not? Because the Electoral College is going to decide anyway. I said, of course they are. But your vote determines who gets the Electoral College votes from your state. And she was like, why didn't somebody tell me that? I said, didn't you have social studies in school? You know, I'm not a political genius, but I know one thing for sure, that as people of color, we have to engage, because if they don't hear from us, they will speak for us.
Right.
And we have to engage. And so how do y'all feel about the Georgia runoffs? First of all, I'm happy the way that it turned out, because now the Senate has been flipped. But I mean, just as a statement to the work of Stacy Abrams and the other ladies, and I might put their names down in the description, because I think they deserve to be recognized too. They did a lot of work. But I think that as people of color now, especially, again, like you said earlier, Pia, Black women, we are doing the doggone thing. And I think we're going to see some difference in that in the coming midterms and different things like that, and local elections. Somebody else to jump in on that. Yeah, no, maybe.
Well, I will say this. I currently serve in my sorority as the chair of the Social Action Committee. And currently right now we are working, you know, of course we were working hard, just like all of the Divine Nine and just all of the various organizations from the NAACP, Junior League, you know, you name it, in terms of getting voter turnout where it needed to be. But the cry now, from my perspective, is this is where the real work begins, right? So just because you cast your ballot and you voted, okay, this is just our starting point, because we now have to hold them accountable. We have to stay engaged. And this is where we lost our footing to cause what happened in 2016. We did not turn back out for the midterm elections. And people need to understand presidential elections, absolutely, they are important. But I kicked it to people in this way. Did I want a new president? Absolutely. But more than anything, I wanted to flip the Senate, because that's where the power is. When things are held, and that's what hurt the Obama administration. We were not able to gain control, so they stonewalled him. Anything that was trying to be passed out of spite, they voted against it. And because they had the numbers, he was not able to push certain legislation. And to this day, from the Obama administration, the gun laws and things like that has always kind of hung over him. Like, man, that's the one thing he really wanted to try to push and pass through. But it's important, not only that we stay engaged at the federal level, but I'm trying to help people educate themselves on the local level, because your mayor, your sheriff, your town council, your county commissioners, those effects are immediate.
Exactly.
And they are just as crucial as who you have sitting at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So now, speaking of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, can we now go ahead and just talk about this attempted coup last Wednesday, January? Listen, y'all. Now, I told y'all that I was fasting. I was hungry. So I didn't know if I was hallucinating or not when I synced, and I said synced, them people busting up in the Capitol. What in the salty ham sandwich is going on? Now, I know that we've talked about how people reacted. We've talked about the seething underbelly of America. Racism is the biggest thread that winds through everything that goes on in America. People talking about this is not who we are. Oh, yes, it absolutely is. And now everybody is seeing what Black people have been saying all along. It goes beyond just the police.
Sure.
It's not just the police. It is every system of government, of whatever, like you said, the local, the national, whatever. All of these systems have been designed to keep us out. Now, it is my opinion, and my opinion only, and y'all can say how y'all feel about it, but it's my opinion that these people were pissed off because so many Black people voted that they couldn't have what they wanted, and so they was going to go up in, this is our house. They was going to run up in our house, and they was going to take, these people had zip ties, they had pipe bombs, they had, one man was standing out there with a pitchfork. Okay.
Right.
But see, the thing about it is, this has been seething in America, not just since Obama became president, because that fueled a lot of people, and not just since Trump became president. This racism has been seething in the underbelly of America since the inception of this country and since the Emancipation Proclamation, when they said that they could not run their businesses on free labor anymore.
Right.
And so now here we are. Now somebody else tell me how you feel about the attempted, you know, there was only one successful coup on American soil. And it was very akin to what happened. And it was the 1898, and I call it a massacre. I refuse to call it a race riot, because how can you riot if some people got guns and they going out to kill people and other people don't even know what's coming on, what's happening till somebody starts shooting them? That's not a riot. It's a massacre.
Right.
And I know, being from that area and having lived in Wilmington, it is 2021, and the after effects of 1898 are still evident in Wilmington, and not only in Wilmington, but across the country. That whole coup set up basically Jim Crow for the entire South.
Right. Right.
So come on, y'all, tell me, citizens, how do you feel about the coup? The attempted coup, because it wasn't successful.
Well, after you said what you just said, I just want to say, period, Pooh. Period.
Period.
That's on period, Pooh.
What's up, Tonya? Come on. I feel like you want to say something. Give it to me.
Is just seeing how everything went down, you know, there's no way that you can tell me this thing wasn't planned from when Trump was talking to them people, that whoever was in the Capitol. This thing, I mean, is going far, and I don't even know if we'll ever really find out. But one thing I know is that if you have a mass of African Americans and they even look like they're about to turn somewhere, the people gonna be there, the military already gonna be there. There's no way in the world we would have even gotten on the grounds of the Capitol.
That's right.
Better yet, the steps.
I was like, where's the water cannons? It was cold that day. Soak their behinds, and let's see how many of them keep standing out there.
And
none of that stuff that they bring out for us, they didn't bring any of that out.
They were shooting pepper spray at the police. They had pepper spray.
When you videotape those people just walking on the House floor, Just, I mean, casually now.
And taking pictures like, let me get a selfie. Hey,
exactly. I mean, they walking around picking up papers off the desk, just looking at stuff.
Going through the mail.
Going through.
The man, listen, y'all, the man that took Nancy Pelosi's lectern actually was trying to sell it on eBay. Now, that's what somebody said. Now, I don't know how true it is.
Well, but she got it back.
But here's the thing. They really thought that they were going to get away. Have y'all seen the videos of the people trying to get on the airplane and the no-fly? And you're just going to ruin my life? Sir, you attempted a coup. You attempted to overthrow the government. You cannot just fly around everywhere you want to.
Just looking at the stupidity, though, and that's just what I call it, the stupidity. I mean, when they were marching to the Capitol and the news people were down there, and actually there was one person, they were recording what people were saying, and there were some people that was actually marching toward the Capitol saying, well, I mean, Trump said he with us, so somebody said, well, do you see him? No, I don't see him, but he's probably he's in this group somewhere. They honestly thought this man was walking with them to the Capitol.
Do they not remember that this is a reality TV star? Reality TV is the less reality you'll ever see on TV.
Right.
And it blows my mind. But what you were talking about, Tonya, I don't think it was stupidity. I think it was arrogance that they thought that they were not going to be arrested. These folks did what they expected from the Black Lives Matter protest. And remember how on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, they had National Guard with flak jackets and armed to the nines and just standing there.
Yeah.
And they didn't have any of that. They had intel. Come on, y'all know they had some intel, but they chose to ignore it. They chose to believe, well, these are just American citizens. They're just, y'all know how we do this. They're just American citizens. And everything's going to be fine. They're not going to do that. They're not going to damage it. And there was collusion. Now, you talking about in the first impeachment, Trump talking about no collusion. Honey, there was some collusion here. Apparently, the day before, the people were on reconnaissance tours.
In the Capitol.
They were in the Capitol figuring out, Ayanna Pressley, in her office, the panic button had been pulled out.
Yes.
That's not an accident.
No.
That's not an accident. I think that these people have been taking their marching orders from their commander-in-chief the entire time. And whether or not he told them to do it directly and they did it, or they inferred that that's what he wanted from what he said. These people have been trying to take their country back since 2008. And I'm just curious now, did y'all see that video when he was up there talking about people who follow me know that I don't want any violence? Do y'all remember them rallies before he got elected where they was punching people and stuff?
Yeah.
So can I just say this? Can I just make a correction? This is not their country.
Listen, they could. Let me tell you, this is real talk, but they consider it their country. First of all, it can't be yours because you stole it from somebody else. Yeah. Second of all, who built it?
That's right.
We built it.
That look like us. That's who built it, including the White House.
Yeah.
So anybody want to just, any last little things that you'd like to say? This has been, in my opinion, this has been wonderful. It's been wonderful seeing you ladies since the whole pandemic. It's been wonderful talking to you. Now,
my beautiful sisters, I do want to say, I was trying to find my poem, but I couldn't find my poem because I have to look for it. Pia, when you were talking about being tired, and my educator, when I was in residency, she made us write poems, and I'm not a poet like, the diva, but she said, just write what's on your heart. And I wrote a poem called Take This Crown From Me. The one that you know, that they put on us strong Black women, you know.
Oh yeah,
right.
And so I was going to share it with you ladies, but maybe I'll dig it out for the next.
Maybe we can do it the next time. Now listen, this
Yeah.
is what I would like for us to do, because I'd like for us to meet again. Please listen to the album Hotels by HEAUX TALES.
Oh yes, Jasmine Sullivan.
By Jasmine Sullivan. Have you heard it yet, Pia? Have you heard it?
I have been, my edges have been snatched away. I have clutched pearls many a time.
Okay.
But
okay.
she is an artist. Understand?
Okay. See that. So we're gonna
pearls,
listen
you
to
said?
that. We're gonna listen to that, and
Song?
the whole album. It's HEAUX Hotels.
HEAUX
Hotels.
TALES.
Yes. So
Like
we're all
that
gonna
home
listen
is
to
telling
it.
to take
Listen, now we're gonna listen to it and we're gonna discuss it track by track. So while you listen and take notes, I'm serious.
So I just want to say 701, but I just want to say this. I really enjoyed this tonight. However, I still say that we could have spent more time on many of these subjects. This is like I was saying.
This is
even
not
like
your
I was saying, like even when Tonya was talking about the COVID and the doctor.
We're not gonna talk about this on the recording. We'll talk about this at another time. Okay. All right. Thanks. So anyway, girl, you something else. But anyway, so I just want to say to my hoodlums, ladies, I love you. We're going to do this again in 2 weeks. We're going to discuss hotels. And, you know, I'm going to create a nice little coming on thing with maybe a little music and a nice closeout thing. Something like, thank you so much for tuning in to Hotel. I was going to say hotels. This is not hotels, but it thank you for tuning in to Hoodlums Talking Trash. If I have not said that, that is the name of this little gathering. Hoodlums Talking Trash, talking real and seeking to heal. Thank you for being with us, ladies. Deuces. I'm going to stop the recording, but you don't have to get off yet, okay?